Hey guys, welcome back. It's Jack from Casino Income Academy, and this is just a quick public service announcement. And everything I'm going to say right now is strictly my opinion. Remember, the casino, just like trading, is a solo sport. You have to make your own decisions, not just when you're in the casino, but before you even get to the casino, who you listen to, what it is that you want to focus on in terms of strategies, money management, and who you get your information from. So before we get started with the rest of our content today for Baccarat Fest, I want to mention something and be very clear on this. Over the last couple of years that we've been here on YouTube, you have never heard me say in any video that we have the Holy Grail system, or that this is the last system we're ever going to need or you're ever going to use. We don't believe in that concept, okay? You have heard me say, and we have done an entire course on this, that it's not about finding the Holy Grail. The way to win here is the same way to win with any other business in the world, whether it's trading or eBay or anything else or Amazon or whatever. You have to keep moving forward. What that means is that for us anyway, we teach a toolbox strategy, meaning the toolbox concept that no one strategy is going to be it. We teach multiple systems. We give you multiple concepts in these modules and our YouTube videos. And we tell you that you need to do your own testing. You need to do the data. You need to determine exactly whether these systems are toolbox worthy. And if they are, and only then, do they go inside of your tab for that game asset. Whether it's roulette, baccarat, craps, or anything else for that matter. This is not a guru-driven YouTube channel. We don't do that. We use data-driven concepts and probabilities, and then we turn over this data to you and tell you, don't listen to what we say, take what we've given you, and practice it and simulate it so that you prove to yourself whether it's worthy of putting it into your personal toolbox for your casino income business. Now, once I have that put aside, I'm going to tell you a few things. And again, this is my opinion. That's it. Be careful. Be careful. There are many YouTube channels that are putting out videos on a regular basis, 15-minute videos, and they make a ton of money in 15 minutes. And they want you to believe that that 15-minute video is exactly the way it's going to go every time you play. That is ridiculous. It is a tiny snippet of data of 15 minutes. So do not believe that what you're seeing in 10, 15 minutes, whether I show it to you or anybody else, is the Holy Grail. That's not the mindset to be able to continue to make money on a regular basis in the casino. You need to test for yourself. You need to have multiple strategies in your toolbox, not a single Holy Grail system. Please do not fall for that trap. Number 2. This is a big one with me, okay? There are multiple people on YouTube that are trying to cash in on something that they have nothing to even do with, okay? And I'm just going to come out and say it right now. Over the last 3 years, there's a guy, you've probably seen the shorts or some of the interviews, Mickey Mays. I don't know Mickey Mays. I have nothing to do with Mickey Mays. I've never claimed to have anything to do with Mickey Mays. This guy, if you don't know who he is, has done interviews and shorts about his life. He's an influencer or whatever you want to call him. And he allegedly has made millions of dollars in the casino. Mainly, I guess it's with Baccarat. He does interviews. I don't know him. I don't know if he's made millions. I don't know if he's made 5 cents. I don't know what his story is. I only know what you know. Okay? But I do know this. He's never sold his system that I'm aware of. He's never given you rules. He's never given you exact strategies. He's given you a few ideas to manage your money, to not lose it all in 5 minutes. And he's claiming all the time that the casinos are cheating you. That's what he's given you. This is an objective statement I'm making. I don't know this guy whatsoever. He may be the greatest guy in the world, but that's not the problem. It's not Mickey Mays. It's the people that claim that they have figured out what Mickey Mays did to make these millions of dollars playing in the casino. They don't know Mickey Mays. Mickey Mays has not had a conversation with these people. He has not given them a PDF. He has not given them that holy grail system that doesn't actually exist. He hasn't done any of that. These people are cashing in based on the millions of views on those Mickey Mays videos. They have no idea how Mickey Mays actually made his money. If they did, they would not be on YouTube talking to you about it. Now, is there anything wrong with them trying to figure it out? Of course not. We're all doing the same thing. We're trying to create systems that have long-term potential. That's perfectly fine. But don't get caught up in this nonsense that somebody has figured out or they know exactly what Mickey Mays did 3 years ago to make money before he got banned or whatever nonsense it is. They have no idea. So don't get caught up in the guru garbage. I have always told you people on this channel, I am not a guru. I am a guy that is doing the same thing as you. But I have a background in analysis, in data, taking this from Wall Street. I work hard with my own team, the people that bring me stuff. We evaluate, we review, we test. If something looks good, we go deeper, we keep testing, we keep evaluating, and we tweak it to make it the best model, the best set of rules, the best money management we can. I am not a guru. Anybody that claims that they're the greatest craps player, they're the greatest Baccarat player, or they have figured out the holy grail system from Mickey Mays, you need to look twice. Please make sure that you're getting your information from the right sources. That's all I'm saying. I never go after anybody. Everybody has the ability to put out content. Everybody has the ability to sell something, give you something, teach you something, and I love it. I think the more information, the better. But don't get sucked into nonsense. Don't. That's my only pet peeve, is people making claims that are not accurate. I have never made those claims on this channel. If I did, I wouldn't be providing more content, more quality strategies and things for you to test and evaluate for yourself. And I certainly would never tell you to have a toolbox mentality that should include multiple different strategies that you can rotate in and out. Why am I doing that? Because there is no single strategy that you should close your eyes and play all the time. So be aware of it. Make proper choices. Don't listen to the garbage. Don't let people suck you in with influencer names thrown out like Mickey Mays or anybody else for that matter. They don't even know these people. These people have never even given their system out before. Okay? So cut through the garbage. Listen to the people that really vibe with you, that makes sense, whether it's here on YouTube or in books or anything else. That's true for trading, for business, for consulting, and for the casino. Cut through the garbage. That's all I can say. And we'll be back very, very soon with the rest of the Baccarat Fest videos. I recorded that opening little diatribe earlier in the day, and now we're back with our regularly scheduled Baccarat Fest. So today what we're going to talk about in this video specifically is going to be one of my favorite topics for people that have watched this channel, alumni from our prior membership club, as well as anybody who has bought any of the digital courses. Most channels, most books, most gurus focus on bet selection, what we did in the last video. Bet selection is very important, but I think that many times they try to sell the sizzle instead of the steak. And the problem is that I don't think a lot of them do it on purpose. I'm not saying they're doing it for some devious reason, at least some of them. They just don't have anything new to add to the table when it comes to money management. And that is the area that is the most important. It's kind of like, we can go back to one of those football analogies like I talk about. You can basically have a terrible football team, right? And you can pay somebody to create a fashion designer to create the most gorgeous uniforms that any football team has ever worn. And everybody can see the pictures and they can see the videos of the uniforms and they get real excited. But if they go to the game and the players are wearing those uniforms and they're horrible players, the uniforms are not going to make up for it. And that's really the way I feel with casino income strategies here in Baccarat and in every other game. A lot of people talk fancy bet selections, and they put the full emphasis on that component. And while that component, as I explained, it can be super powerful if it's based on data, if it's based on probabilities, and not smoke and mirrors. It is very important, but even the best bet selection cannot survive if you don't have proper money management. And that's a fact. I don't care what anybody tells you. And when you see a lot of these videos, especially some of the daily roulette videos and things like that, and lately there's a lot of new craps people out there, and I see them come up with fancy schemes of what they're betting, and they pay absolutely no attention to the recovery phase or the money management. So we're going to get into that in a couple of minutes. So I had some follow-up thoughts from my little rant that's going to be at the beginning of this video. So number one, I want to be absolutely careful, and I want to explain to you that it was not meant to be negative rant in regards to anybody whatsoever, or Mickey Mays or anything like that. I don't know Mickey Mays. I never played with Mickey Mays. I have no data of how he played, what he played, other than what he says in those little clips that are on, or in his interviews. The reason for that video, or that part of the video, was simply to tell you to be careful. It was a PSA. It was a public service announcement that anybody who's telling you that in 10 minutes they're going to teach you the Holy Grail strategy and you don't need anything else, you need to walk away. Anybody who's telling you that they never lose, you need to walk away. Anybody who's telling you just to double up or use some old-fashioned money management, it works and works and works until it doesn't. That's exactly the way those things are. And anybody that tells you that they have figured out the exact strategy that somebody like a Mickey Mays was using 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it may be, you need to walk away, because they are using his name to get interest and drive clickbait and sell things or whatever it may be. I don't know. I'm not them. But they have no connections to Mickey Mays. They have no way of knowing what Mickey Mays did, and they don't even have any way of knowing what most players do. Unless they actually do have a direct connection to somebody that is playing a system and has the exact rules to that system, They are trying to reverse engineer something. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, because of my background in trading, I have reverse engineered a lot of things in my life. A lot of things. A lot of the strategies that I show here and things that we have in modules are directly related to the next things I'm going to tell you. I always say from the start of this channel that I am not a guru. I tell you guys that the things that I show you publicly and privately come from either ideas that we do create in our casino lab and drill down on using AI and everything else at our disposal, or they come from things that I've seen publicly and thought there was a kernel or a little bit of a snip of interest that I wanted to go further with and see if I could blow it up and make it better than it already was. That means people that are professionals, that are creating really ingenious things, that are here on YouTube, that are off YouTube, that are playing for a living, whatever it may be. You know, the ideas, the system, the strategy ideas, I don't have an ego. I've told you this for the last couple of years. The moral of the story is not for me to create some kind of a legacy or be the guy or tell the world I'm the greatest, whatever. I don't care. I don't care whether the concept comes from me or anyone else, or that it's a hybrid where I saw something and I drill down on it and make it better. I don't care. At the end of the day, what I do is look for things that work. And I test things at work and I tweak things. Simulating, computer analysis, and live play. Okay? And we're always very honest of where the strategies come from, or where it's something that we've done our own homework on completely. So, you know, I just don't like when people pretend like something they're showing came from somewhere else. And I'm just not into that. But, you know, the more the merrier. You can do anything you want. It's a free world. Social media has people making claims about everything on the face of the earth. So you're not going to get that here. And there's lots of great channels where you don't get that there either, by the way. No bullshit hype. No guru nonsense. And no smoke and mirrors for 10-minute videos that say that you're going to be a millionaire in 20 days. I'd rather create things that are reasonable, that show you how to play, that give you a concept that's been fleshed out, and force you to do the same thing and to become your own casino engineer, to test it yourself, and then to make your own determination if what I'm saying and what I'm showing you is something that makes sense for you. And that's the way I will always be. So I just get aggravated watching all these videos, and I'm not talking about just casino stuff. Of people saying you're going to, create a PDF and you're going to make $10,000 in a month without purchasing any ads. If you want to believe that, go right ahead. But if it's time to get off the merry-go-round, and if it's time to start playing in the real world, and you want real information, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's all I try to do here. If you want to convince yourself that there is a holy grail and you only need one strategy and you're never going to lose, and you can double up for the rest of your life and make money, stay on the merry-go-round. The rest of us jumped off 2 years ago, and we've been doing very, very well with the concepts that we're working on privately, publicly, and teaching in our courses and our one-on-one private coaching. If you're looking for those private strategies that you can't purchase, you can send me a message through the website, and we can set up a private coaching session through Zoom or Google Meets. They're not very expensive. We're also going to be introducing live where it's one-on-one in the casino, where we can fly to you or you can fly to where we are. And we'll be talking about that later. Oh, guys, let me pause the video for 1 second. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, what we're going to be doing on this video is component number 2. like we said, money management. So money management is really simple. There's definitely different components into it. But what we want to talk about on this video is what people kind of gloss over so often. And that is what to do when we win with the bet sizing, what to do when we lose, and what to do when we break even. Because remember, when we play Baccarat, right? If we put $25 on Banker, there's only 3 things that can happen. We can win like that, right? Because we bet on Banker and Banker won, right? It was a natural 8 versus a 2. Or we can lose, right? We can win, we can lose. That's a loss. What do we do after a loss? What do we do after a win? And what do we do after a tie, right? Now, the tie is relatively straightforward because for the most part, most systems and concepts treat the tie as if it did not happen because it doesn't result in a win or a loss. We're not losing and we're not winning anything. So we gloss over that tie, all right? So let's take a look. Let's take a look. That's it. Okay. All right. So what the other word is, what we can call this is recovery. So basically what happens is that if you lose, you have a recovery method, right? Now, that could be doing absolutely nothing, and we'll talk about that. Or it could be a series of rules or progressions as to how we're going to handle a loss. But remember, money management is not just something we do on a loss. There are multiple money management concepts that work on what we do on a win as well. And we refer to that as parlay systems, things like that. So it's going up, right? It's going up. And I missed that here. Hold on 1 second. I did miss putting in parlay. I knew there was something strange there. Okay. So, a parlay system might reduce the size of the next bet or may increase the size of the next bet. So it's not always based on a loss. The old-fashioned way of looking at money management, or what some people will call a progression, is very one-dimensional. And unfortunately, I see many people in videos doing exactly what was done in the 80s and the 70s and God knows how long ago, right? They're not utilizing the techniques and the concepts and the math that's readily available to each and every one of us. You do not have to be a coding genius. You do not have to be an accountant or a math whiz to be able to acknowledge that there's so much more that we know how to do now than we did even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, by the way. I'm seeing things and understanding things and evaluating things that some of them are simplistic, but I've never seen them. Some of them are complicated, and it's because of AI and other technology that's helping us create these things and manipulate the data. So the next term before we get into where we're going here is manipulation. So this is a difficult topic for some people. As we said in the last video, people want to talk about house edge. They want to talk about odds, right? And they want to tell you that that is a constant and there is nothing else. Well, I've already went over that and explained to you that that's not true. And one of the things that I think is the way that we look at things is the word manipulation. So here's the thing. If we have a series of results, and this time we're not going to use banker player, we're going to use wins and losses, right? Win, loss, loss, win, loss, win, 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 loss, right? Manipulation or money manipulation, if you want to refer to what we're talking about as that, means that if you look at this, let's say we're playing for $5 chips. We won 5, right? So watch this. We won 5, so that's plus 1 unit, right? And then we lost 1 unit. And then we lost another unit. And then we won a unit, right? And then we lost a unit. And then we won 2 units back to back, right? Boom and boom, right? And then, actually it's 3 units there, 3. So we have 1 more plus, right? Whoops. 1 more plus. And then we finish off this little sequence with a -1. So if we're looking at this as just $5 wins and losses, right? Count up the pluses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then count up the losses. 1, 2, 3. So that comes out to a +2. And if we're using $5, that's a $10, right? So that would be that we won $10 here. And what we refer to that as is flat betting, right? It's our number one thing here, our number one quote-unquote recovery concept. Flat betting is just betting the same amount, whether it's $1.50, $500, $1,000, I don't care, for every single result. So we're using some type of bet selection, right? One of those types of concepts like we showed in the last video, or what we're introducing, let's say on Monday in Baccarat Revolution, or one of our other courses like Baccarat Squared or Baccarat Equalizer or anything you've seen on the channel. And we're doing what's called a flat bet recovery or a money, flat bet. And when we count the pluses and minuses, we're up 2 units, right? This is a unit. And then if you times that by the actual value in dollars, it's $10, right? If these were $100 chips, we'd be up $200. If these were dollar bets, we'd be up $2, right? Okay. So what we're talking about with manipulation is putting some type of a recovery, manipulating the size of our bets. So we can manipulate the size of our bets in many different ways. And before we talk about those ways, let's talk about why you would manipulate your bets in the first place. So if we flat bet, this is going to be the least volatility because we're only able to go +1 or -1 on each individual result. Now, you can have multiple minuses in a row and you can have multiple pluses in a row. But by playing this way, we would hope that if we have a good bet selection, it would keep us as close to break even as possible, right? So we went up 1 here, and then we lost 1, which would bring us back to 0, or where we started in between here. This would be a 0 in between. We're back to break even. So the moral of the story is trying to keep ourselves as close to being able to jump into profit as possible. So we either want to be progressing up the ladder in terms of profits, and when we have losses, we want to keep it as steady as we can, as close to back to where we were, or break even, or back in with the profit that we were at. Wherever we were at prior to this, that was more of a positive, whether it's break even or whether it was up 10 units. It doesn't matter. We want to keep as close as it is. And the way that I look at this is kind of riding the wave, right? You're going to have waves of wins. You're going to have waves of losses. This is the way it goes in trading, in any type of volatile asset class, whether it's your 401k value, whether it's a crypto coin, whatever it may be, whether you're playing poker and your overall bankroll is going up and down, right? You don't want to get us that far away from being close to being able to make profit. Because the farther away you get from zero, the harder it is to get back to zero to then just get into profit by 1 unit. So there is benefits to flat betting. You usually need much less of a bankroll, the number of units required to play a system, right? Most of the time you're going to need less units. Most of the time. Most of the time, if you have a bet selection that performs well, and that's been tested, and if you know that the losses don't come in big chunks, and you usually don't get that far away from break even, flat betting is a really good concept. But the negatives to flat betting, and there's positives and negatives to everything, is that the negatives to flat betting is that you have to be extremely patient. And for me, you also have to be very satisfied with a profit and quit. Now, that is my mentality with any type of progression, but that doesn't seem to be the mentality for other people, all right? So you have to be patient. Sometimes you can go through these up and downs and be right around the break-even point and not too far away. But if your zone that you're looking for is, let's say, 5 units of profit, you may keep getting up to 4 and going back down to 2 and going -2 and going -1 and back up to 1. And you can bounce right around that break-even point, and you can be frustrated because it may take you quite a while to get to whatever zone of profit that you're looking for. If you have a hard, fast target, win target. And win targets are something we'll talk about later, I think in the next video. So all I'm trying to do on this video is to show you that even a great bet selection, a strategy, if it's married to a horrible money management system or recovery, it is a disaster. And I'll give you a little hint. There are people on YouTube that do a pretty decent job when it comes to bet strategies and bet selections. But their focus is not enough on the prize, which is the recovery and the money management. So we are able to always siphon through some of the better channels and find those gems from the bet strategy concepts and rework them in the casino lab to have far better recovery methods than what you're seeing on YouTube. And that's where a lot of things that we do come from, by the way. Reworking the recovery strategy or the recovery component. So before this video gets totally out of control, let's keep going. So another method of manipulating the money and using it as a recovery is called a fixed progression. This is what I call it. So a fixed progression, instead of betting the same amount, you can have something, let's say, that is a preset amount that we go up and down, right? So these are things like martingale, where you're going to double from after every loss, right? And when you win, you go back to the base bet. Things like Fibonacci that give you an exact fixed progression, that after this loss, you're going to bet the same. And then on the third one, you're going to go up to 2 units. And if you have another loss, you're gonna let's say add up the last 2 bet sizes, the 2 and 1. Now you're going to go to a 3-unit bet. It's a fixed progression. It's a fixed progression. But again, there are many different styles of fixed progressions. You can have fixed progressions that go on to infinity, like martingale, right? Things like that just keep going and going. And what happens is you either bust out because your bankroll is gone, or you hit a table max and you can't keep going with the progression. So that's an unfixed, not an unfixed, but a fixed progression that goes into infinity. Then you can have finite fixed progressions. Those can be things where you don't go past a certain point. So you could say to yourself, I'm going to do a 1, 3, 7, right? So my base bet is 1. If I lose, I'm going to bet 3 units. If I win, I go back to 1. But if I lose at the 3 unit level, I'm going to now be forced to bet 7 units. But it's finite. It doesn't go any further than that. It is a 3-bet progression. You can do a 2-bet progression, a 1-2, a 1-3. There are many, many things you can do that are fixed progressions, okay? And we have gone over many of those on this channel, and we have a ton of information for private members that we've given them in regards to these type of fixed progressions, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with fixed progressions. They can be manipulated to be aggressive or to be conservative. The third type of recovery that I want to go over is a hybrid progression. I would tell you that many of the things that we use are hybrid progressions, or what you see as number 5, flexible progressions. So if you go back and watch some of our videos, you will see us do things where instead of it being that you're automatically going up a preset amount, there are other rules that are in place. They could be based on where your session bankroll is at that moment, where the progression up, the next bet size, is based on how many losses you've had in a row. It could be based on a multiplier. It could be based on all types of different things. So that's, instead of it being an absolute fixed progression, it works based on other factors that are going on at the moment. How many losses you've had? Are you up for the session? Are you down for the session? Things of that nature, okay? And we do a lot of hybrid and flexible progressions and recovery. That's where I basically live most of the time. Now, there are some fixed progressions that are super tight that we do utilize, and one of them is one of the options that people are going to learn in the Baccarat Revolution course on Monday. One of those is one of the options, okay? So now the next one, the session high level, this is based on factors that in that session that you're playing at that moment, that will be a determining factor as to when you go back to the base bets. Now, we incorporate some of these things into some of the stuff that we've shown publicly on this channel that we absolutely love. You've seen me do public demonstrations over the last 6 to 7 months of the faction system. And the faction system is our go-to at the moment. It's one of our favorite money management. It is something that that we take a lot of pride in, that we have manipulated and created and generated new adaptions to it. And the beauty of the faction system is that we can customize it for different bet selections, for different strategies. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And that's been shown on this channel. And by the way, one of the PDFs that you're getting with Baccarat Revolution is a video and the entire concept of what we've done with the faction system and elevated it to a whole nother level. And we're giving you the tools and the knowledge to be able to customize it for yourself, for your own strategies or strategies outside of what we're teaching you. And if you learn how to do that, you will have one of the most powerful recovery systems there is, because it's not a single one-size-fits-all like most people use with Fibonacci or D'Alembert or whatever, or Karsh, whatever it is. They use the same thing for everything. And they kind of try to jam in a square to a round hole and they try to jam it in and force it to work. And that's not necessary, because one of the things you learn with money management is that if you do the proper evaluations in learning how your bet strategy works and looking at the data is what really tells you the tools to use and to test out with it for money manipulation or recovery. That's not what most people teach. Most people tell you that they find a bet selection they think is pretty good and they slap Fibonacci on it, or a martingale, or whatever it may be. Whatever it may be that they're slapping onto it. And it's because they look at recovery and money management as a secondary concept. And in reality, it's everything. It's everything. I have done videos on this channel showing crappy bet selections on purpose and attaching it to an amazing money management that even makes the crappy bet selection work better. Okay, we've done that. We've done coin flip videos on this channel and had no bet selection just to prove how important money management is. Okay, it's not about finding that pot at the end of the rainbow that these people are selling you, that it's the greatest bet selection that ever lived. Oh, and by the way, just double everything up when you lose. If you really do have a good bet selection, which are many of the things that we sell as digital courses and things we show for free, that's not the end of the ride. The end of the ride is determining how to balance and manipulate during wins, during losses, and how to level that playing field out so that you are still close to break even, so you can grab and capture the units and leave and call that a session. And that's what recovery does. All right, so flexible. We've gone over a little bit of that. And flexibility to me is very important. There are times where fixed progressions work perfect. Don't get me wrong. But even then, I find that people are not using common sense. And in a lot of my videos, I explain to people, and especially in the digital courses, that you have to use your brain. If you need to, or your zone that you're looking for is like me, usually 4 to 7 units of profit, and you're up the ladder 2-3 steps in whatever your bet progression might be, and you're back to 4 units of profit, and it's calling for you to still make a bet that's above the base bet, why would you follow that rule and make the next big bet? Why would you not drop down a step or drop all the way down to your base bet? That's common sense, and you see me do that on a lot of the demos. And that's something that each one of you has to get comfortable doing. I'm trying to lower the volatility in my bankroll and in my sessions. When I look at other people's videos or systems, I don't look at how much money they make. And that's the problem, is that many of you are looking at the shiny number. Somebody's telling you that they make 15 units a shoe every time, or whatever nonsense it may be. Okay? I don't care about making 15 units in a shoe, or 5 units, or 20 units in a shoe. I only care about session volatility. I learned that from trading. So my money management is not based on making maximum amount of money in a shoe, or in a session, or in a blackjack session, or a crap session. I am interested in controlling and lessening the volatility. So for me, that's the holy grail. That's the real holy grail, is having multiple sessions and data that shows that by combining the right bet selection and the right money management component, that I have lessened the volatility within my sessions. And that's the real secret sauce. Because if you can lessen the volatility and show profits consistently, that's the Holy Grail. Not the bet selection. There is no bet selection that is the Holy Grail by itself. So when people are telling you this is the last system you're ever going to need, this is the greatest thing ever, this is the ultimate final system, they're riding off into the sunset, and then 5 months later they're back with the next Holy Grail system, something's wrong. Okay? You never hear that from us. There is none of that. There is toolboxes, there's quality bet selections, and then you're marrying those bet selections with the right recovery systems. And you're doing the best you can to make the best formula using those ingredients. And when you do that and you're successful at it, you can put that entire system into your toolbox along with others that meet those same requirements. And now by using those multiple systems within that game and intra-game, meaning having a toolbox for roulette, for baccarat, and for craps, and rotating the games and the systems, that is really the closest thing to what a quote-unquote holy grail is. That's my definition of a perfect business model. Not an individual system. Okay? Not the magical mystery that you've beaten everything and you're never going to lose again. And it's the final straw. When you hear those words, do what you want to do, people. But if it's me, I run the other way. Because if they can't answer the question for me, what is my session volatility look like? Then they really don't have a clue what they're talking about. There are people that show baccarat systems and crap systems. Forget about roulette, because as far as I'm concerned, like 90% of the stuff you see on YouTube is garbage because the volatility is through the roof for a lot of those roulette systems they show. I'm not going to get into that. But I will tell you, for craps and for baccarat, anytime I've had direct communications with some of these people, they don't even understand what I'm talking about when I ask them what their session volatility looks like. They don't even understand that concept. Because they're on their merry way trying to make as many units in a shoe as they can. And that's their goal. Their goal is to make as much as they can, but not to limit the volatility. Now, you cannot make the volatility zero. If we were able to do that completely in the long term, the casino would go out of business. Or you would never make any money, right? That zero-sum game type of nonsense, right? We don't live there. We don't live in a zero-sum. We don't live in in that world. We don't live in that world in the casino. If there's no volatility, whether it's here or the stock market or options trading or anything else, there is no ability for us to make money. So we can't control the volatility where there's no volatility, or we won't have any money to be made. We just want to lessen the volatility to the extent that when our bet selection is not matching the results perfectly, we can survive those points. That's it. That's what money management is all about. Here and everywhere else in the world. Everywhere. Any type of asset trading or anything like that, sports betting, it doesn't matter. It's about lowering your volatility on your capital. So I hope that you guys understand the power of money management and recovery. So I'm going to end this video by letting you know that with what's coming out Monday, listen to me, Baccarat Revolution, you're getting conservative, multiple conservative money management recovery concepts. But even within those concepts, we are showing you how to use common sense and how you have options of how to handle inside of those recoveries. How to use your common sense, and you make the determination instead of it being a preset rule when to reset. And you're going to see me do that on those private videos in Baccarat Revolution. You're going to see my mindset and our pro player mindset of what they do. And they don't close their eyes and simply go up the food chain or down the food chain in a preset formula. There are definitely rules. I'm not telling you there's no rules. What I'm telling you is that common sense and flexibility here are a big part of money manipulation and controlling volatility. All right? And anybody who wants, you're going to get inside, you're going to get a free bonus that has not been available to everybody. Not many people have it. You're going to get the PDF that has the Faction Flex plan, like I said, which is worth its weight in gold. If you understand the power of taking what we've shown you on the faction recovery stuff on this channel, now we've taken it to a whole nother level by creating the Faction Flex, which makes it even more customizable. And I'm including that with the digital course because I think it's so important. So many of you are taking this seriously and putting in the time. And you're looking at other people. You're looking at other systems that other people are showing you or selling you or demoing. And I believe that no matter what you're doing, you need to take the core elements and you need to manipulate them and use them properly in these other things. So I want to give that to you. And I'm going to do another offer. I'm going to tell you guys that we have 4 volumes of money management concepts, 4 PDF volumes that have never been released publicly before, that only our alumni have these 4 volumes. And we usually come out with an extra volume or 2 during the year. And inside these volumes is a collection of interesting money management concepts that are above and beyond what we're showing sometimes in the videos. So it's almost like a library of money management recovery concepts for you to test and try. Some are way more aggressive and some are way more conservative. And we don't limit ourselves in those volumes so that you can see all the different things that are available. And anybody who wants a copy of any of those volumes, if you purchase Baccarat Revolution in the first week only, if you purchase Baccarat Revolution by the end of next week, that's all you need to do is send me a message through support that you purchased and you're not an alumni, which means you don't have access to those volumes. And you want the access. And I will give you those volumes for no additional money. That's my promise to you. And that's the bonus that I'm giving anybody who's not already an alumni who has those 4 volumes. You're going to get those. The value of those 4 volumes plus the Faction Flex custom PDF alone is worth this money. So you're getting Baccarat Revolution, and you're going to be able to get all these additional bonuses that I think are just so freaking powerful. I'm bending over backwards to do anything I can to help people. And I'll say it one more time on this video. If you don't own any of the other courses that are on Casino Income Academy's digital course page, and you want those other courses, I highly recommend, if you're going to take this seriously in 2026, that you really, really want to put forth the effort if this is going to be a business for you. If you spend crazy money on Amazon systems and PDFs and tutoring and mentoring and all kinds of crap. I'm telling you that the best thing you can do for 2026, in my opinion, is to take a look at Casino Diversification Toolbox. That's the base module, the base system for everything we're doing as a business. If you don't own AI Bubble Craps Blueprint, if you don't own AI Roulette Blueprint, and now Baccarat Revolution, and you want the ones that you don't have, maybe you bought one of them, but you don't have the other ones. Maybe you don't have any of these and you're new to this channel. Send me a message and I will help you. I will give you a special discount if you're purchasing more than one of these systems. And believe me, it will be a substantial discount. That's what I've been doing for people for the last month and a half. It's not about how much money I'm making on these modules. It's getting this information into your hands. The money we make from these modules goes into massive amount of money that it costs us with the technology for the website, for the people behind it, the coding. And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but in the next 45 days, we're going to be introducing something that has never been done, that has taken months to code on a very special team of coders, and it's going to be free for you guys. It all came from my own pocket, the money to be able to create what we're creating. It's going to be a utility, that's all I'm going to say, and it's going to be free for all of you to use. And that money had to come from somewhere. And that's what this money has been going to. So if you want to know the real story, the money has been going into coding. For that project and several things we're working on going forward into 2026. So that's where the money is going. Okay? Maybe I haven't said that before, but I guess it's time to talk about that and let you know. And that project, and when that's released, is going to be incredible for every one of you. Every one of you. That utility, you're going to be able to utilize it. And we're going to work with you and teach you how to utilize it to optimize your ability to use it properly. It's going to open up the floodgates for each one of you to be able to do things that maybe you didn't think you were capable of doing. And I'm not talking about making money. I'm talking about thinking. I'm talking about what we do. So that's it. This has been a huge, long video. I apologize for that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you're watching this video and watching a college football game. It is Saturday, and I'm going to go watch my Hurricanes. Hopefully they come back from that loss last week. That didn't end my week on a good note last week with my undefeated University of Miami Hurricanes finally losing. But it's not the end of the season. We win the rest of the games, and hopefully we're in the playoffs. And of course, my Miami Dolphins, who are absolutely horrendous and still have the same coach and general manager, I have no idea how those guys are keeping their job. But, who knows? Maybe they know Mickey Mays. I don't know. All right, with that, I will let you guys go, and we'll see you on the next video.